Welcome to tonight's video on Unit 4, Part 1, Classifying Triangles. So there's a couple ways to classify triangles. You can classify triangles by its angles. So if it has all acute angles, you say it's an acute triangle. If it has three congruent angles, then we say it's an equiangular triangle. If it has one obtuse angle, then we say it's an obtuse triangle. And if it has a right angle, we say it's a right triangle. If we're classifying it by its sides, three congruent sides means it's equilateral. If it has two congruent sides, then it's called isosceles. And if it doesn't have any congruent sides, it's a scalene triangle. So if we look to classify these triangles, first we'll look at the angles. So notice all three angles are equal. So this would be an equiangular triangle. Notice here you have an obtuse angle of 130, so therefore this would be an obtuse triangle. And then here notice you have three acute angles, so this would be an acute triangle. And then it says classify a triangle XYZ. So XYZ is the big triangle here. And notice 40 plus 50 is 90, so there's a right angle there, which means triangle XYZ is a right angle. I mean a right triangle, sorry. The reason why is it has one right angle, which is angle XYZ. All right, the frame of this window design is made up of many triangles. Classify triangle ACD and ADE according to their sides and angles. Well, according to their sides here, so if we look at ACD, because it's a rectangle, we notice that these two sides look to be the same. And then this looks to be an obtuse angle. So we'll say it's obtuse and isosceles because it has two congruent sides. And if you look at ADE, ADE looks to be, triangle ADE looks to be a right scalene triangle. So ACD, triangle ACD, or sorry, triangle ACD is obtuse and isosceles, while triangle ADE is right and scalene. All right, so next page, it says point Y is the midpoint of VX. So Y is the midpoint of VX, which means these two are the same. WY equals 3. So this is 3 here. Classify triangle VWY. So VWY has equilateral, isosceles, or scalene. Well, half of 8.4 is 4.2. So notice you have 4.5, 3, and 4.2. So it would be scalene because none of the sides are the same. Here, if point C is the midpoint of BD, so that means these two are the same, which means half of 3.4 is 1.7. It says classify triangle ABC according to its sides. Well, ABC here, notice these two are the same, so it's 1.2. So notice it has two congruent sides, which means it is isosceles. All right, next, It says find the measures of the sides of the isosceles triangle KLM with base KL. So the base means it's the non-congruent side, so that means these two are the congruent sides if KL is the base. So that means 12 minus D is equal to 4D minus 13. So then we solve for D, and we get 5D equals 25, so D equals 5. And it wants to find the measure of the sides, so 5 plus 6 is 11. 12 minus 5 is 7. And then 5 times 4 is 20 minus 13 is also 7. So basically KL is equal to 11. LM equals KM, which equals 7. The vertex angle in an isosceles triangle has a measure of 80. So the vertex angle in an isosceles triangle is the angle that's formed by the two congruent sides. So this is 80 degrees. What is the measure of the two other angles? So one thing, if these two sides are congruent, then the base angles are also congruent. So we'll say this is x and x. And remember, in a triangle, it adds up to 180. So 80 plus 2x is equal to 180. So then you subtract. 2x is equal to 100. So x equals 50. So the other two angles are 50 and 50. So it says find x and the measure of each side of an equilateral triangle, which means all three sides are congruent. So this is A, B, C. That means they're all three the same. So AB equals 6x minus 8. BC is 7 plus x. And AC is 13 minus x. So to find x, you can set two of these equal. So 6x minus 8 equals 7 plus x. Subtract x. Add 8. 5x equals 15. X equals 3. And then to find the measure of each side, we'll just put the 3 back in. So AC equals 13 minus 3, which is 10. AB is 6 times 3 minus 8, which is also 10. And BC is 7 plus 3, which is also 10. So notice they're all equal to 10, which means it's equilateral, which it is. All right, so then number 11, it says the triangle RST is isosceles, which means if these two are 39, then these are the sides that are congruent. So it says find the value of y. So you go 5x plus 6 equals 3 times 2y minus 2. And then y equals 12. All right, so then the last one here, find x if triangle ABC is equilateral, which means all three sides are equal. So we'll just set two of them equal, so 6x plus 5 equals 4x plus 13. Subtract 5, so you get 2x equals 8. So x equals 4. So that's the first part. Then the second part is name a right triangle if AD is perpendicular to CB, which means these are right angles. So the right triangles, you could say triangle ADC, or you could say triangle ADB. Either one of them would be a right triangle. All right. So that concludes our video on part 1. Coming soon, part 2.